Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of Food Exposed. In today's video, we're looking at honey, and unfortunately, like many other things in our food industry, honey industry is very much corrupt. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what is actually happening in the industry, have a look at some labels, and hopefully in time, they'll help you make a better decision when buying your honey. So in front of me, I have a selection of honeys, which will be used as a reference on the labels, so we can have a look and dive into the regulations. Nonetheless, you'll probably be aware there is loads and loads of brands of honeys out there, but whether they're true honey or not, this is a different matter. According to research, approximately 70%, 70% of the honey that is on our shelves is actually either not honey or very much adulterated with something else. And the trouble comes, like with many big organizations, like we talked about the olive oil, unfortunately it happens with the honey as well, where the companies get honey from different countries, pull them together and then bottle them up and brand them. This is unfortunately happens with many things, and honey is one of them. Where the trouble comes, right, is from unfortunately China, which are the biggest supplier of honey, but at the same time it is the most adulterated honey you can possibly find. It is that bad that it actually contains lead, quite high amounts of lead in the honey, and this is all because they ship the honey in the lead barrels. Okay, just think about it for a second. That's pretty scary. A lot of countries actually banned the import of Chinese honey because it is that bad. But of course, what's currently happening, Chinese find a way of shipping the honey to different countries to avoid the regulations and avoid the imported taxes and things like that. What is also happening, they're totally clearing the honey, getting rid of the pollen from the honey, so it cannot be traced. So as I said, a lot of countries do not want to have a Chinese honey, but unfortunately they're finding a way, okay, and getting that honey to those companies anyway. There are, of course, claims to be the regulations for honeys, and every country, again, have their own, but they're meant to be some standards there. But again, the same is happening like with the olive oil, because the honey goes through so many countries and comes from many different countries as well. It is inevitable that it does get adulterated. And what's usually happening, they unfortunately purify the honey from the pollens, and then they dilute this with either sugar syrup, rice syrup, corn syrup, and things like that, which in fact makes the honey not a honey. I'm not referring to any specific brand in terms of what gets adulterated, what is not, but I'm just going to give you some ideas what to look out for. So first of all, okay, we're talking about the quotes or the words that could be used on a honey, and things like raw, natural, and organic are not very well controlled. So let's start with the claim of organic, because this is what majority of the people are referring to, and they're thinking they're getting a better product. A lot of honeys claims to be the Soil Association and organic proof, but in fact it is very difficult to prove, because bees, when they do fly about, trying to get their nectar, they actually fly for several miles, and for the honey to be actually certified organic, there's got to be 100% proof, okay, that the bee hasn't flown somewhere on the pesticide full, field full of pesticide sprayed flowers. And again, how could you prove that? You can't. So even in the fact they say that a lot of the farms are based in the organic areas and all the fields around them are all organic, there is no guarantee that some of those bees haven't flown somewhere else and actually feasted on the pesticide flowers. Okay, that could be absolutely minor thing, but if you think about this, the claim of organic, it's not really proven. As you can see how it's easily, when we start to divulge into the depthness of the whole, the whole scenario of people claiming, you can see how easy it is to debunk the myth in terms of organic and anything else. I know I appreciate some people when they do claim this, they do try to make their best, but the point is it is not guaranteed. So although we do have a labeling system in UK, and let me tell you, so it is important, okay, because I always advise you to look at the labels. But again, let's have a look. So we're talking about the regulations in UK, right? So the product name. So what are the regulations of the labeling of honey in UK? So we have the product name. So the label must clearly state the word honey. So the honey predominantly delivered from specific floral source or originates from a particular region, okay? So producer information, the label should indicate the name of a producer or packer and the contact details, okay? Country or origin. So it's mandatory to indicate whether the honey has been harvested, for instance, product of UK or produce of England. If the honey is blended from multiple countries, terms like blend of EU honeys, blend of non-EU honeys, or blend of EU and non-EU honeys are acceptable. And of course, the best before date. Right, so we already see the similarity in terms of the olive oil and honeys, all right? The bigger companies are clearly mixing the honeys from different countries. And again, point always to you guys that the regulations of those different countries are totally different. And in case like of the Chinese honey, obviously clearly pretty much non-existent. But nonetheless, chances are some of them actually making our way to the UK. So now let's have a look at the labels, right? And it's, again, I'm not nitpicking, I've just got specific brands is what I had because this is what I've been buying, to be frank. But nonetheless, okay, the leading brand here, and the Rouse honey. So it's very natural. It is very natural from the day that Tony Rouse first collected honey from his Oxfordshire hives over 80 years ago. So when I look at this, I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is, the local guy from Oxfordshire, been collecting honey for 80 years. This is absolutely amazing. It makes you want to relate to the guy, right? And then, of course, you say, oh, scan for the code to buzz over our World of Honey for details on the Hives for Lives program and for some other lovely yummy recipes. That's wonderful. That's like, yeah, you buy our honey, you can have a look, this is the recipes there. And then of course you do. So this is approved by the organically certified by Soil Association, okay, and storeroom temperature. And it says there, blend of honeys from more than one country, blend of non-EU honeys. So packaged in the UK, and obviously gives you some other nutritional information. So this honey from non-EU countries, well, funny that because it claims it's organic and it says that the Tony Rouse has been doing this in Oxfordshire and yet this honey comes from non-EU country. A little bit funny. Anyway, I'm not picking on Tony here, but the point is it tells us there that that honey is from non-EU countries, right? So that means, again, it's been shipped from multiples of countries, mixed all together and put in a jar. And again, how can they make claim they're saying it's certified by Soil Association? I really don't know, because truly organic, how would they know if it's organic unless they physically go there and inspect the farms? But nonetheless, okay, this is what it is. Right, so next on the list I have the Manuka honey. So Manuka honey is the only honey that you can actually get from either Australia or New Zealand, all right? And this is from the only two countries it's meant to be coming from. One of them comes from Manuka plant and the other one is Australia. I'm not sure what, I can't remember what plant it is, but nonetheless. Okay, so at least in here, right, this one is from Lidl, deluxe one, and this one actually does tell you on this side here, that's so packed in UK using New Zealand honey, right? So nonetheless, it's a bit annoying that it's still actually packed in here rather than New Zealand, but I understand because obviously this is the brand specifically for Lidl, so nonetheless, and so far that kind of looks, pretty good, really dark honey. It's got totally different characteristics to a normal honey, but nonetheless, it states this on the label. And then we go for, again, the same one, but this is the squirty version, and it doesn't actually, I know it does tell me, sorry, blend of non-EU honeys packed in UK. They're pretty much the same thing. And then we're looking at the basic things, right? And this is where you got to be really, really careful. So this is the bog standard cheap honeys. There was like £9, I think it's £25 now. Every supermarket does them. And you can see they totally runny and totally weird and totally never crystallize. I wonder why. So nonetheless, again, it tells you the same thing. So it's product of the UK, using blend of honeys from more than one country. Okay, and then it says there, a blend of non-EU honeys. So they don't, pretty much all the cheap ones are from non-EU countries. So those things here, right? However, I don't want to really slate off the brands, but okay, they are not, they don't even deserve to have the name honey. And this is where our industry of labeling, it's super, super wrong, because chances are, right, those things there, they totally don't behave like honey. And I'll do a different video how to test for a real honey. They don't behave like real honey at all. They don't taste like a real honey at all. What in fact they taste like is some syrup, a sugary syrup with maybe a teeny weeny bit of floral notes. Yet honey generally should taste like honey, really, really strong floral notes. And obviously it's equally as sweet, but those things taste nothing like honey. And chances are they probably only have a small percentage of honey in them. I can't speculate the amounts of honey in there, but they do say on average that if the honeys are adulterated a lot, then it's more than 50% of that will be a sugar syrup or some other syrup. So the point is, now I'm aware of the situation, even as a prepper, right? I'm wanting to avoid those things because, again, when we buy a real honey, a natural honey, with the pollen ideally, we'll have all the enzymes and nutritional benefits of the honey. When you buy something like this, it pretty much has nothing going for it apart from sugar syrup. If this is a budget thing you're looking for and you're just buying this for the sake of a sweetener, it's absolutely fine, but might as well save yourself some money and actually buy the sugar syrup. It will be a little bit cheaper anyway. So nonetheless, right, we're moving on to a decent honeys. There is loads and loads of honeys about. You only have to do your research and have a look. Locally, you can find the local farmers, or in fact, there are companies that do ship their honey through online, but still fairly local. So I've got a totally local honey, totally local, just literally up the road. Okay, and I've got the honey that I found. One of the good ones so far, to what I've done the research, it's called Black Bee Honey. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy this on their website. It's certified Bee Corporation, and they do give 2% of their sales for the pollinators. They're basically planting some fields, that kind of thing. So I suggest you check them out. They actually quite truly explain to you the true nature of the honey. They're saying they can't make a claim that is a raw honey because of the regulations, but okay, they said they come pretty close to. And what I like about it, although they are a general pooling company that sells the honey, so they take this from different beekeepers, however, they tell you on their website that they're keeping it individual. So if they're taking it from specific beekeeper, it will be labeled as that. So here, okay, they've got few of the beekeepers on the system, but you know your honey will be single origin. And it tells you, and they do tell you, that you will know exactly which area, okay, and which beekeeper it comes from, because it tells me here on the label. So it comes from Yorkshire, and his name is John, okay? So, and you can see, again, the consistency of the honey is totally different. So I strongly suggest, guys, you check this out, because that, to me, looks like a good option. But of course, if you can find somebody totally local that you know 100%, you can potentially even visit a beehive. This is a very good idea. So there we are, guys. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better idea. I'm pretty sure many of you were aware of the honey situation anyway, but again, once you sort of dig a little bit deeper and actually understand the labeling and how it happens when they do pull the honeys from different countries, and especially the lead barrels, it is not surprising that probably majority of us would not want to be buying that. So anyway, guys, right, I'll put the link for that website and for the Amazon link for that honey. Again, have a look, do your research in terms of your local beekeepers. There's tons, I said, tons and tons of the websites out there who produce a local honey, and ideally keep to a single origin honey. This is what you really want. So anyway, guys, we'll hopefully have found this video helpful. If you do, please don't forget thumbs up. It does help the video, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.